The INFJ brain is a vast space of concepts, creativity, and insightful ideas. There's no beginning and no end to their multifaceted superbrain, making it one of their greatest assets. However, with so much potential, external sensitivity, and the never-ending processing required, sometimes it gets overloaded in the process. Welcome back, psychos. Before we get into it, we'd love it if you liked and subscribed to our channel, as well as to click the post notification bell so you never miss a video. Alright, let's get right into it, starting with number 1. Conflict with others. Empathetic by nature, the INFJ type learns from an early age just how much of a toll interpersonal conflicts have on their well-being and state of mind. Conflict avoidant, they begin taking the necessary measures to avoid even relationship-building arguments, which sometimes has a less than positive effect on their connections. Despite the measures they take, sometimes conflict is unavoidable. Of course, some being worse than others, the overload all depends on the severity of the squabble. When this type is having challenges with someone they love, such as within their romantic relationship or within family, their brain can become overwhelmed with not only the normal fight or flight reaction, but also an empathetic understanding of where the opposite person is coming from. This is where communicating their thoughts on the matter becomes so tricky, as they're easily able to play devil's advocate, even when it's of detriment to themselves. Unlike some close-relationed conflicts, it's the unexpected arguments and disagreements with acquaintances that really overload their brain. Being the sensitive introvert they are, INFJs have a hard time thinking on the spot, especially when they're distracted by anxiety. Number 2. An issue they can't quite resolve. Speaking of conflicts, another component that sometimes is and sometimes isn't a part of this challenge is when there's an issue that they can't resolve. Whether it's personal, interpersonal, conceptual, or a problem that isn't theirs at all. This problem-solving type becomes seriously overloaded when they can't resolve an issue that has been brought to their attention. With webs upon webs of information stored in their brains, the INFJ prides themselves on their ability to analyze, diagnose, and mend issues of any sort. In fact, they're not only able to come up with the best solution forward, but they're able to somewhat predict the effect it will have on everyone involved, as well as any future consequences, allowing them to narrow it down to the best solution. It's not only within their nature, but it's an ability that comes from their very cognitive makeup of introverted intuition, extroverted feeling, and introverted thinking. This is why, when they're unable to come to even a non-ideal conclusion, their brains feel as if they're short-circuiting. They feel like their brain is malfunctioning, and in reality, it probably is being distracted by something far deeper than they can put their finger on. Number 3. Concepts they can't wrap their heads around. The mind of an INFJ is incredibly quick and witty. It doesn't take them long to understand even the most complex theories and concepts, allowing them to keep up in conversation, no matter the topic. However, when this clever personality type feels lost in discussion or is introduced to a concept that they can't quite wrap their heads around, their brain quickly becomes overloaded. Like a computer with too many tabs open, the INFJ mind begins to overheat. Not only with the continuous processing of information, trying to understand the topic at hand, but also with the self-criticism of inadequacy. While they may play it off cool on the surface, pretending as if they're following along, on the inside, there's an internal battle that's quickly taking over their entire attention span. In fact, sometimes, as a way of coping with the overload of information, the INFJ may give up completely, drifting off into their imagination land. Well, they don't exactly give up completely, as they don't take a lack of understanding as a solution. Once they're alone, they will do whatever it takes to comprehend the topic in order to put their confusion at rest. Heck, they may even take it as far as becoming an expert in it. Number 4. Open work or learning environments. There's nothing that quite overloads the INFJ brain like an environment that doesn't allow them to tune into their introverted functions. With the unique combination of extroverted feeling or sensing and introverted intuition or feeling, the INFJ can become easily distracted by their environment. When it comes time to observe and analyze others, this combination couldn't be more helpful. However, when they're required to concentrate on a task, they require very specific external surroundings in order to truly get their work done. This is when traditional work and learning environments become a little tricky. Open concept offices, classrooms, lecture rooms, and even homes can put the INFJ's brain into total overdrive mode. While they become distracted by what's going on around them, their brain begins the cycle of telling them not to focus on their external world, causing them to only focus more. Despite taking the necessary steps such as putting in headphones, sitting in the least trafficked area, and practicing certain concentration methods, there's no combating this brain overload when it comes to open environments. Number 5. Complex directions. With a pen and paper, INFJs are unstoppable when it comes to taking orders and instructions. Once it's written out where they can refer back to it or reread it as many times as needed, this personality type will excel at any task given. However, when someone gives them a complex verbal order with countless intricacies, there's no doubt that the brain will become overloaded with detail. In order to move forward, this perfectionistic type needs to understand the hows and whys of the task, including just how all the directions come together in the end. Whether it's a work project, a school assignment, a DIY, or directions to a location, the INFJ brain quickly becomes distracted by their own questions and conceptualizing before they have the chance to grasp all that's being said. Before they know it, their brain goes blank and they feel completely useless. It's not like they have a couple questions at the end, but rather a blank stare, followed by a "could you repeat that slower?" or a simple "text it to me." Number 6. Making quick decisions. If you're an INFJ yourself, you'll know just how indecisive this personality type can be. With the tendency to consider multiple perspectives and potential outcomes before making decisions, being put on the spot to make quick decisions can quickly overload their thinking power. Rooted in their introverted intuition seeking to understand the bigger picture and future possibilities, it leads them to weigh many factors that inevitably leads to overthinking. Much like their problem-solving abilities, even when it comes to even the simplest of decisions, they have an internal fear of regretting their decision. From deciding which brand of tomato sauce to buy at the grocery store, to whether or what to choose off the restaurant menu, there's something about these somewhat meaningless decisions that cause their brains to feel completely overloaded. Number 7. Doing something new with someone else shadowing. Whether it's training for a new job, learning a new skill, or even shadow training someone else, if there's one thing that almost every INFJ can relate to, it's the brain overload that comes when they feel someone is watching them. It doesn't take long for INFJs to feel seriously overwhelmed when someone is observing them or something they're doing without being able to observe back. Not only does this put serious pressure on them, but being watched as an INFJ also takes away that sense of independence they're always chasing. Regardless if it's intended or not, this pressure makes their brain feel seriously overloaded. Instead, they prefer to get things done on their own terms without feeling someone judging their actions. However, when it's someone they love deeply and feel safe with, this is an entirely different story, but it takes a great deal of trust, which we all know doesn't come easy as an INFJ. And lastly, number 8, a tight deadline. There's nothing that compares to the overwhelming feeling of a tight deadline, especially for the procrastinating INFJ. In fact, matched with their perfectionistic nature, one of the INFJ's biggest pet peeves is having too much to do with no time to do it. Unattainable deadlines, last-minute changes in plans, and even spontaneous adventures can throw an INFJ into total brain overload panic mode. And since the last thing an INFJ wants to do is cut corners or have something that represents their work ethic as disorganized, their sense of concentration is replaced with overwhelming anxiety. When this happens, INFJs need to withdraw to a place where they have privacy and relief from overstimulation to give their brains a chance to process the information and make a stable plan. However, with all that being said, there's nothing worse than a tight deadline that they have no one to blame for but themselves. Well, psychos, that's it for today. So, would you say these things overload your brain as an INFJ? Let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure to leave us a like, share with your friends, and subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a video.